Now, the second part of a sales plan is the operational element. The operational part of a sales plan contains four broad components. The first component of the operational plan is the goals. Sales goals are specific, measurable targets that a sales team or a salesperson aims to achieve over a defined period, usually a year. So, in sales planning, your goals are usually annual. Now, these goals are critical because they would guide and motivate sales efforts. There's so many criteria that you can use to set your sales goals. For instance, you can use market share, and that will be, for example, increase market share by 10% this year. You can use sales volume. For example, sell 20,000 copies of my books this year. You can also use sales growth. Achieve a growth rate in sales like 20% year-over-year growth in revenue. And of course, you can use customer acquisition. So acquire 50 new clients this year. You can also use average deal size. And the goal may be increase the average deal size from 5,000 to 7,500 US dollars per sale this year. You can also use revenue target and set a goal to achieve a sales revenue of 450,000 US dollars this year. You can use profit margin, and your goal may be to improve the profit margin on sales by 45% within the year. Then, of course, you can use customer retention, and your goal may just be to retain a certain percentage of your existing customers, like maintaining a 90% customer retention rate over the next year. You can even use product penetration and set a goal to increase the sales of a particular product or product category, such as doubling the sales of a particular product this year. You can even use cross-selling and upselling criteria, where your goal may be to increase the percentage of customers who purchase additional products or upgrades, such as achieving a 15% cross-sell rate within that year. You can use customer satisfaction and set a goal to achieve a specific customer satisfaction score rating, such as maintaining a net promoter score, NPS, of say 70% or higher. These sales goals can vary based on your product, your organization, and even your market. The key thing is that it's very important for you to set goals that are both challenging but yet achievable. Because sales goals play a crucial role in driving sales performance and measuring success. It's when the goal is clear that you can now measure success as you pursue the goals. The next element of a sales operational plan will be your sales objectives. So you have sales goals that are annual. Sales objectives are typically quarterly. They are those quarterly specific measurable targets that a sales team or individual aims to achieve within a 3-month period. That's your quarter. So objectives would also help you break down the annual sales goals into manageable and focused increments. The elements used to set sales goals can also be used to set your objectives. For example, quarterly revenue target. So you can set an objective of achieve a specific revenue target for the quarter, such as 150,000 in sales. You can use sales volume. Sell a set number of units of products during the quarter, like sell 6,000 copies of my books this quarter. You can use new customer acquisition, and your quarterly objective may be secure a certain number of new customers, such as 15 new customers every quarter. You can use market expansion. Enter or expand sales into 2 new geographic markets or regions this quarter. You can use product launch, and that quarterly objective may be to successfully launch and achieve sales targets for a new product within this quarter. You can go as far as using competitors analysis, and you're setting a quarterly objective of conduct a competitive analysis of 3 of our major competitors and develop strategies for selling against them this quarter. You can use sales promotions, and your objective may be use social media and other platforms to reach 100,000 leads this quarter. I want to strongly recommend that in setting your quarterly objectives, don't fall into the temptation of simply dividing your annual goals by 4 to achieve or to set your quarterly objectives. The sum of your quarterly objectives should be higher than your annual goals if achieved. For instance, if your annual revenue goal is $1 million, the quarterly objective should not just be to divide that by 4 and you have $250,000 every quarter. I would rather recommend that you have $300,000 as your quarterly objective. The same way, if your annual goal is to acquire 50 new clients, your quarterly objective should be to acquire minimum 15 new clients this quarter. You may choose to graduate your quarterly objectives based on your own market realities. So, for instance, your first quarter revenue objective may be lower than that of the third quarter. Perhaps you had factored in the fact that based on trend and patterns, that your target market does not start acquiring from the first quarter. Perhaps you've also committed the first quarter to your promotions, to your planning, to prospecting, and you wouldn't expect revenues to start coming in as much as they will come in by the third quarter. So the bottom line is that you should understand your market and set your objectives based on reality. Meanwhile, when you set your quarterly objectives, don't be tempted to still focus on your annual revenue goals. So don't feel that because you've not achieved these quarterly goals, that it's okay since you're pursuing the annual goals. That can create laziness. I've seen how this destroys sales teams, and how this can also sidetrack the focus of a salesperson. When you set your quarterly objectives, pursue them as if the end of that quarter was the end of the appraisal period for you. Don't relax and think that because you still have 3 more quarters that you can make up. Of course, that's the reality. However, don't let that be your motivation or the lack of motivation for the efforts that you put into your activities every quarter. So drive the quarterly objectives, including managing rewards and meaningful consequences, with all the vigor and all the determination that you can muster. This would lead us to the third component of the sales operational plan, which is monthly targets. So you have your annual goals, you've set your quarterly objectives. Monthly targets are the operational definitions of your quarterly objectives. Your monthly sales targets are more specific, more measurable goals that the sales team or the salesperson aim to achieve within a month. So 30 days period. Yeah. These targets are used to break down those larger sales objectives into more manageable increments, allowing for better tracking and performance assessment. For instance, if the revenue objective for the quarter is 300,000, what specific actions should you take as a salesperson to meet your monthly targets that would ensure that you meet those quarterly objectives and ultimately your annual goals? So just as we advised for quarterly objectives, the sum of your monthly targets should be greater than your quarterly objectives if they are achieved. So again, if your quarterly objective for revenue is say 300,000, your monthly target should be between 120 and $150,000. So you should also set your monthly targets around the measurable indices such as sales volume, new customer acquisition, sales promotion, and all of those criteria. Now, the elements of your monthly targets should be more granular than the quarterly objectives, the same way that the quarterly objectives are more granular than the annual goals. So your monthly targets should also be the operational definition of your quarterly objectives. They should include such details as the specific actions to take to meet your monthly sales volume so you can meet your quarterly sales volume. The specific actions to take to secure a certain number of new customers. The specific actions to take to expand to new territories or markets. The specific actions to take to launch new products in that quarter. So the monthly targets should break down the activities required to achieve your quarterly objectives. The last element of the sales operational plan will now be your weekly action plan. Weekly activities in a sales plan are specific actions and tasks that the sales team or the salesperson undertake on a weekly basis to meet their monthly targets. These activities are essential for maintaining a structured and proactive approach to selling. Weekly action plans can also help you to track and monitor the specific detailed activities that you need to take every week to signpost your commitment to meeting your monthly targets. You know, as they say, the devil is in the details. Sales excellence also is in the details. And these details are captured in the weekly activity plan and in the diligence with which you seek to execute those weekly activities. Without the discipline to follow through your weekly plans, your sales goals, your objectives, and your monthly targets would amount to mere pipe dreams. It would amount to lazy wishes. If there's any such thing as luck in sales, it can only come by an unequivocal commitment, focus, unrelenting effort on accomplishing your weekly activities. These weekly activities are specific, measurable, and granular activities, in your weekly action plan. And it should include things like, number one, how many new contacts should I make a week? How many industry events, conferences, or virtual networking events to attend to establish connections and expand my network? How many leads to generate in a week? How many appointments to secure in a week? How many meetings to schedule every week? How many personalized emails to send to prospects and leads to provide information and address their needs? How many presentations and demonstrations to have in a week? How many proposals to send out in a week? What are the follow-up activities with leads and prospects that I've made presentations to or have made demonstrations to who have not yet become customers? And then how many new customers to acquire every week? It would even include activities to maintain and update your CRM, your customer relationship management system, with accurate and current details concerning your customers. You can also set weekly action plans around customer feedback. So that would include gathering and responding to customer systems, customer complaints with accurate and current information. It's important that your weekly action plan captures cross-selling activities. That would include, how do you promote and sell complementary products to your existing customers? And you should set a definite target of how many of your existing customers you're going to ask to buy other products of your company that they may need. You should also have your sales metrics review that captures the review of weekly sales metrics and key performance indicators to assess the progress that you're making and make necessary adjustments if need be. Then, of course, there should be a weekly target of the number of referrals to secure from existing customers. So set a target every week of how many of your customers you're going to ask to give you a note or send you to their own friends. Weekly activities, as you can see, are very crucial for maintaining a proactive and organized approach to sales, ensuring that sales efforts are consistent and that you're able to track progress towards monthly targets, quarterly objectives, and ultimately your annual goals. They also provide you with a structured framework for achieving all the goals that you've set.